let's start with Leinster and the Bulls. It was a top of the table game, and certainly in the first half, it was a game that lived up to its billing. Personally, I felt it was a game that lived up to its billing in general, even though
Mm.
Leinster ran away with it. There were just so many massive moments in it. Talk me through what you thought of Leinster's performance to begin with, because ultimately it's a victory,
Mm.
7-1, is it, in the end? And
Yeah.
it is comprehensive. Did it feel that comprehensive to you
No,
overall?
well, the
Like, was
first
the
half,
score just?
I think the first half, Gav, when the Bulls were milking scrum penalties, you feared for Leinster a little bit, and um, at 12-11 when Ireland scores a try, they've shown a little bit of quality in terms of counter attack. Leinster kicked long and they ran from deep. Willie Leroux, we know how dangerous he is, and Aaron's is a quality player. But then after that, I thought you always feared when you looked at Leinster's bench, and how strong they were, and you looked at the Bulls bench, and it wasn't the same quality that Leinster would pull away. I thought Leinster were, people talk about Leinster's blitz defense, and obviously it's been a big change in terms of how they defend. But what was most impressive, and even speaking to Jake White Sunday Saturday morning, it blew me away how good their scramble was. So basically, the Bulls made, I think, 4 or 5 line breaks, and normally after a line break, it can take two or three. Well, it takes normally takes 3 phases to get kind of set in an optimum defensive organization again. And the next phase, you have them under pressure. Sometimes you get a penalty, sometimes you get another strong carry just because they're not set. And Leinster, within one phase, were back set perfectly. And I think that blew me away, and it blew the Bulls away. In terms of, like, how do you break this team down? And that's something that wasn't always the case. Look, they scored 7 tries, but under Lancaster, they probably would have scored 7 tries as well. But it's their ability to make teams work incredibly hard to score, I think, has improved dramatically. And like, they'll be fired up with Aaron to try, because on the kick chase, Van der Fleer allows himself to get blocked by a returning attacking player. He just goes the wrong side of him, and then they're cut open. And look, we know, the Bulls, any of the South African teams from deep, they've got quite a bit of pace. But in general, I thought their phase defense and their set piece defense was really good, and it was a nice game for them to come back, get all their international players back together, and get a really good win, and sets them up nicely. I think Leo now, when he looks at who he sends to South Africa, I think he's going to be pretty comfortable that they will finish top now. Whereas if he had lost that game, he may have had to send a stronger team than he would have liked to South Africa.
Yeah, there's every chance that for the third time in a row, we won't get to see a full strength
Mm.
Stormers Leinster kind of a
Yeah.
battle in Cape Town, which would be a pity, but Leinster have earned that right now. Just on the Aaron to try, I don't think we necessarily have to spend a great deal of time on this, but Luke McGrath's challenge, the yellow card. I know you were on comms for the game, but in Ireland, we
Mm.
didn't have you. So, what were your thoughts
I
anyway when this
heard
is on
I heard Quinny, who's a good pal of mine. Quinny thought Aronson was at fault, which interesting take. To be fair, look, I've got lots wrong as well. I'm of the opinion that Luke should have got red there. To be fair, I couldn't see any real mitigating factors. I mean, I also would put no blame on the ball carrier. I mean, he's going to protect himself when he sees someone coming across at that speed. I didn't think he raised his elbow or anything like that. So for me, it's Luke's unbelievably brave, but you're liable to get a red if you come flying into contact as recklessly as that. And I'm surprised there's been no sighting. To be honest, I think that's one of the ones that we just need to be pretty hard on. I have seen over the last couple of weeks, um, there's been probably a reticence to actually use red cards.
there.
It seems TMOs and referees are looking for excuses. And I understand in the Six Nations when you have a bunker where you just defer that decision to an outside team who have time. Um, but I think that's a red. I think it's a red. And if you're the Bulls, your feet hard done by. I think if that happens to an Irish player in South Africa, Irish fans are up in arms, saying it was a hometown decision. And I look at neither the team or the referee were hometown, but I just think that's a strange one. I also think that the yellow, or the try that was ruled out later on in the game for Arnsa kicking Ross Byrne on the ground, I think if that's not a try, that's not even a penalty. You know what I mean? I think that Ross milked it there's a slight contact. The ball is on the ground to be kicked. You know what I mean? It's just one of those rugby incidents. But that wouldn't have changed the course of the game. Leinster were by far the better team, but I just think in terms of consistency, a couple of things, like there's been a bit of controversy at the moment around, you know, obviously Austin Healy. The TMO last week was basically picked up on comms saying that he didn't want to look at something because Austin Healy had flagged it. And unfortunately, obviously, like theoretically, the TMO shouldn't hear the commentator. But the reality is, they're in a small truck. You know, they're in a truck, and it's not soundproof. And I actually don't really see an issue, and I'm open to debate on this, but I don't see an issue if the TMO does hear a co-com or a commentator or someone in the truck point out an active foul play. I mean, does it really matter if it is foul play? You know, I don't know. I like it again. I know some people say it should be totally biased. That's one thing I want to throw out there. The other thing is, and like we saw, I don't know if you saw it, but Harlequin's bat, Ernie Herbst was sin binned. Harlequins had ran into a massive lead, and Bath started to come back, and he came back on the pitch after 7 minutes. Like, you know, like the fourth official couldn't even get the 10 minutes right. You know what I mean? And again, does it really matter if does it matter how we get to the right decision or how we get to the right application of the laws, as long as we get there? You know what I mean? So that could have actually, Bath were coming back. Earps came back on when Harlequins had another man in the bin, and certainly made some impacts on the game that potentially saved Harlequins from and helped them win it. So yeah, that's just my look. I don't know what the right answer is. Obviously, you don't have too much outside influence, but I'd be more of the opinion that as long as we're getting the right decisions, probably doesn't really matter what the process is. But maybe I'm wrong.